वेद पुराण सिमरत के मत सुन, निमख नाही ये बसावे, परतान पार धारा स्यों रचयो, गिरता जन्म सिरावे, मन मेरो बस नाए, मन मेरो बस नाए माई। माया के गयो बावरो, सूजत ने काछ ज्ञाना, कटही पीतर बस्त नरंजन, ताको मर्म ना जाना, मन मेरो बस नाए, मन मेरो बस नाए माई। जब ही शरण साकी आयो, दुर्मत सगल विनाशी, तब नानक के त्यो चिंता मन, काटी जम की फांसी, मन मेरो बस नाहे, मन मेरो बस नाहे, निस्बासुर दिखियन को तावत, के विद्रोह को आए, मन मेरो बस नाहे, मन मेरो बस नाहे।
हे जग मीत न देखो कोई, मीत न देखो कोई, हे जग मीत न देखो कोई, मीत न देखो कोई, सगल जगत अपने सुख लाग्यो, सगल जगत अपने सुख लाग्यो, दुख में संग न होई, संग न होई, मीत न देखो कोई, हे जग मीत न देखो कोई। धारा मीत पुत सन बंद जग मीत न देखो कोई। स्वान पूछ जो भाया न सूधा, बहुत जतन मैं कीनो। नानक लाज बिरद की राखो, नाम तुहारो लीनो। मीत न देखो कोई, हे जग मीत न देखो कोई। मीत न देखो कोई, हे जग मीत न देखो कोई।
सब किछ जीवत को व्यवहार, सब किछ जीवत को व्यवहार। मात पिता पाई सुत बंदप, मात पिता पाई सुत बंदप। अर खुन गए कीनार, अर खुन गए कीनार। सब किछ जीवत को व्यवहार, सब किछ जीवत को व्यवहार। तन ते प्राण होत जब न्यारे, तन ते प्राण होत जब न्यारे। तेरत प्रेत पुकार, आद घड़ी को नहराखे, आद घड़ी को नहराखे। करते वेद निकार, सब किछ जीवत को व्यवहार, सब किछ जीवत को व्यवहार। एक तृष्णा जो जग रचना, मृग तृष्णा जो जग रचना। यह देखो हृदय विचार, कहो नानक भज राम नाम नित। कहो नानक भज राम नाम नित। जाते हो तो उदार, सब किछ जीवत को व्यवहार, सब किछ जीवत को व्यवहार। मन मेरो बस नाए, मन मेरो बस नाए। इस बासुर दिखियन को तावत के बिदरों को गाए। मन मेरो बस नाए, मन मेरो बस नाए। माए पुराण सिमरत के मत सुन, निमक नाही ये बसावे। परतान पार दारा स्यों रचयो, गिरता जन्म सिरावे। मन मेरो बस नाए, मन मेरो बस नाए। माए माया के गयो बावरो, सूजत ने काछ ज्ञाना। कटही पीतर बस्त नरंजन, ताको मर्म ना जाना। मन मेरो बस नाए, मन मेरो बस नाए। माए जब ही शरण साकी आयो, दुर्मत सगल विनाशी। तब नानक के त्यो चिंता मन, काटी जम की फांसी। मन मेरो बस नाए, मन मेरो बस नाए। निस बासुर दिखियन को तावत के बिदरों को गाए। मन मेरो बस नाए, मन मेरो बस नाए।
हे जग मीत न देखो कोई, मीत न देखो कोई। हे जग मीत न देखो कोई, मीत न देखो कोई। सगल जगत अपने सुख लाग्यो, सगल जगत अपने सुख लाग्यो। दुख में संग न होई, संग न होई। मीत न देखो कोई, हे जग मीत न देखो।
ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਜੀਵਤ ਕੋ ਵਿਵਹਾਰ, ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਜੀਵਤ ਕੋ ਵਿਵਹਾਰ। ਮਾਤ ਪਿਤਾ ਭਾਈ ਸੁਤ ਬੰਦਪ, ਮਾਤ ਪਿਤਾ ਭਾਈ ਸੁਤ ਬੰਦਪ, ਅਰ ਖੁਨ ਗਏ ਕੀ ਨਾਰ, ਅਰ ਖੁਨ ਗਏ ਕੀ ਨਾਰ। ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਜੀਵਤ ਕੋ ਵਿਵਹਾਰ, ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਜੀਵਤ ਕੋ ਵਿਵਹਾਰ। ਤਨ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਨ ਹੋਤ ਜਬ ਨਿਆਰੇ, ਤਨ ਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਾਨ ਹੋਤ ਜਬ ਨਿਆਰੇ, ਤੇਰਤ ਪ੍ਰੇਤ ਪੁਕਾਰ। ਆਦ ਘਰੀ ਕੋ ਨਹਿਰਾਖੈ, ਆਦ ਘਰੀ ਕੋ ਨਹਿਰਾਖੈ, ਕਰਤੇ ਬੇਤ ਨਿਕਾਰ। ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਜੀਵਤ ਕੋ ਵਿਵਹਾਰ, ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਜੀਵਤ ਕੋ ਵਿਵਹਾਰ। ਮ੍ਰਿਗ ਤ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨਾ ਜਿਉ ਜਗ ਰਚਨਾ, ਮ੍ਰਿਗ ਤ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨਾ ਜਿਉ ਜਗ ਰਚਨਾ, ਇਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਹਿਰਦੈ ਵਿਚਾਰ। ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਭਜ ਰਾਮ ਨਾਮ ਨਿਤ, ਕਹੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਭਜ ਰਾਮ ਨਾਮ ਨਿਤ, ਜਾਤੇ ਹੋਤ ਉਧਾਰ। ਸਭ ਕਿਛ ਜੀਵਤ ਕੋ
Okay, go for it. Thank you.
ਬੋਲਣ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਦੁਰਗਾ ਪਰਮਦਾਸ ਅਵਤਾਨ ਹੈ ਰਾਸ, ਤੁਦੇ ਅਗਰ ਰਾਸ ਮਾਰੀ ਦੀ ਪਰ ਸੋਤੀ ਰਕਮਨਾ ਕੋ ਸੋਤੀ ਦੀ ਆਈ ਕੋਈ ਨਾ ਜਾਣ ਗਿਆ। ਇੱਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਹਾਈ ਵਾਸੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਦਸਵੇਂ ਪ੍ਰਥਮ ਤੇ ਸਿਮਰ ਭਾਈ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕੋਲੇ ਧਿਆਏ, ਫਿਰ ਅੰਗਦ ਗੁਰਤੀ ਅਮਰਦਾਸ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਸਹਾਈ ਭਜਨ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਨਸੋ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿ ਰਾਏ। ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਹਰਿਕ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਨ ਕੇ ਇਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਜਾਏ, ਤੇ ਵਾਹਨ ਸਿਮਰ ਕਨਾਮ ਦਿਨਾਵਤ ਆਏ, ਸੋਤਾਨੀ ਹੋਇ ਸਹਾਈ। ਦਸਵਾਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਸੋਤਾਨੀ ਹੋਇ ਸਹਾਈ। ਦਸਾਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਜੋਤ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਪਾਠ ਦੀ ਦਾਤਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਤਰ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਪੰਜਾਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਸਹਿਬ ਜਾਦਿਆਂ 40 ਮੁਕਤੀਆਂ ਅਠੀਆਂ ਜਪੀਆਂ ਤਪੀਆਂ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਿਆ ਵੰਡ ਛਕਿਆ ਦੇਖ ਲਾਈ ਤੇ ਵਾਹੀ ਦੇਖ ਜਨਮ ਕੀਤਾ। ਤਿੰਨਾਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਸਤਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਤਰ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਿੰਘਾਂ ਸਿੰਘਣੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਧਰਮ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਧ ਤੇ ਪਾਉ ਕਟਵਾਏ, ਖੋਪਰੀਆਂ ਹਈਆਂ ਤੇ ਫੜੀਆਂ ਤੇ ਚੜੇ ਯਾਰਾਂ ਚਲਾਈ ਗਏ। ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ, ਧਰਮ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਾਰਿਆ, ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਦਾ ਕੇ ਸਾਸਾਂ ਸੰਗ ਨਿਭਾਇਆ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸੋ ਸ਼ਹੀਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਮਾਈ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਤਰ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਪੰਜਾਂ ਤਖਤਾਂ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਧਿਆਨ ਤਰ ਬੋਲੋ ਜੀ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਪ੍ਰਥਮ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਕੇ ਦਾਸ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਸਰਬੱਤ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਕੋ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ 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 ਚਿੱਤੇ ਆਵੇ। ਚਿੱਤੇ ਆਉਣ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਸਭ ਸੁਖ ਹੋਵੇ, ਜਾਣਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤਖਤਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ। देख देख फतेह बद की पैर पंथ के गीत श्री सारे के सहारे फरसदी के बोल भले बोल दी वाहगुरु सिखानो सिखीदान पेशदान रहतान पवित्रदान सहदान प्रसादान धन सदान धन श्री हम सदी कृष्ण चौकिया चले होंगे जो जबटल तनु काजकार बोल जी वाहिगुरु सिखादा निया अतुची मंदा था वाहिगुरु ये अकाल को अपने मंदिर सदा सहायता था जीव शिनो का साहते ओ गुरुद्वारे तम दिन पंथ नोमी थो गया तिनाली खुले दर्शन दाते सेवा संभावना दान कर सदी मगोदी निवारण निवारण निताने निताने निरुपयन दियो तन श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब सतगुरु जी आप दे सुरिंद अरदास बेनती गुरु दर्द स्मोक में मिसे सेवा का प्रवाह आपे रहमते नाम सतगुरु जी इस वक्त आपके हुजूर हाजिर बंदे हुए तन श्री गुरु तेग बहादुर साहब महाराज जी आपने 400 साल प्रकाश दिवस की खुशी ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੋਚ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੰਗਤ परिवारों की चढ़ती कला वास्ते बेनती करते हैं सतगुरु जी जो कि नेशनल सिख पुलिस एसोसिएशन यूके होम ऑफिस सिख एसोसिएशन डिफेंस सिख नेटवर्क कॉलेज ऑफ पॉलिसिंग सिख नेटवर्क ਅਤੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਸੰਸਥਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਕ੍ਰਾਸ ਗਵਰਨਮੈਂਟ ਸਿੱਖ ਫੋਰਮ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਮੁੱਖਤਾ ਦੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਸੁਣੋ गुरु दर्दे प्रेमी सेवक परिवारों में के सिख संगत अते सेवादार की चढ़ती कला इन ही सारे एसोसिएशन की चढ़ती कला वास्ते सतगुरु दर्दे नाम जुड़ते हैं सतगुरु नमस्कार करते हैं इस वक्त सतगुरु जी दीवान आरंभ करने वास्ते अरदास बेनती है आज्ञा बख्शो संग्रह के शब्द सिद्धि के ऊपर हाथ करते हैं अपने दर्दी सेवा करौनी अपने दर्दी उस्तत करौनी की जा रही सिख संगत सेवादार की सेवा में खिड़की दरो करो सिखी सदक भरोसा नाम दान बख्शना किल माई पानी सतगुरु जी शुभ उपदेश गुरबाणी का सहारा बख्शना दुखों पेशां का नाश गुरमुख का प्रकाश कर दिया सब की सेवा का हस्ते परिवार सुख शांति चढ़ती कला बख्श करनी सब संगति हाजिरी अपने दर्दी प्रवान करते हैं सिरते के बड़े हाथ रखना सतगुरु जी इस वक्त इस आपके दिल दरबार में आरंभता में अरदास बेनती करते हैं पावन मंदिर खुशियां बख्शो शेख प्यारे मेरे नाम तेरे नाम किया मान नाम करते कला तेरे अपने वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु की दोहराया गया भैया काल की तुम चलायो पंथ सब सिखन को हुक्म है गुरु मानियो ग्रंथ की मानियो गुरु की दे जो ब्रह्म को मिल हो चाहे कोई शब्द मन ले राज करेगा खालसा आपकी अजन कोई खोर भी संग लगे वचन शरण जो हुए ख्वार है संग लगे वचन शरण जो हुए बोले सो निहाल सत्य श्री वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जी गुरु गुरु शरण तुम्हारिया मिले रख दो रखना बहुत दया नानक के बोले हर का मुको देखना रख मानत आन समुनान समझे मना ज्ञानी का मुखरान वाहिगुरु जी टोडी महाराज बनिया हर हर चरण डाल हरे सिमर स्वामी सतगुरु अपना कार्य सफल हमारे हर हर चरण डाल हरे सिमर स्वामी सतगुरु अपना कार्य सफल हमारे रहाओ पवनदान पूजा परमेश्वर के तत्त विचारे उनका वचन तुल सुख पायो ठाकुर कम्य पाले जो जन पार ब्रह्म अपने कीने तिनका बहुत न विचारे अमृतम सम जप जप जीवा हर नानक कंठम द्वारे जो जन पार ब्रह्म अपने कीने तिनका बहुत न विचारे अमृतम सम जप जप जीवा हर नानक कंठम द्वारे वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। पंडतकार्य के सत्संगी सदगुरु परिवार है, शुक्र है जिन्होंने रहमत नाल समूह संगत आप सेवा का अपनी अपने किरत में की जिस डिपार्टमेंट के काम कर रहे हो मालिक की भगत आप सब नु गुरु का दे प्रबंध लोग जिया के साथ बहुत तो शुक्र वाहिगुरू का खालसा वाहिगुरू
Satsang Ji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. On behalf of the National Sikh Police Association and our partners, welcome to our celebrations for the 400th anniversary of the Prakash Order of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur. My name is Kavinda Aliwal, and I'll be guiding you through the event this morning, which is being streamed live to you from Guru Nanak Darbar, Gravesend in Kent. We have an outstanding lineup of speakers for you who will be speaking about the life and legacy of our Guruji. Our technical team is working diligently in the background to provide this virtual event for you as seamlessly as possible. I would ask you to be as patient as possible in case of any technical glitches. We're very keen to kick this event. We are very keen to kick this event off, and I would request that the President of the National Sikh Police Association, Harinder Singh Rai, to open the event for us with an overview and a welcome. Over to you, Harinder.
वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह. First of all, hello and welcome to our virtual summit. And thank you for joining us. Today's event is one which will provide an insightful perspective into the life and times of the ninth Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur. You'll have to forgive me. Sorry, I just spoke the stairs to catch the proceedings in time. Normally, I don't have a script, but I'm told Cabinet Office colleagues and others from the Civil Service and Home Office may be watching, so I will be sticking to my notes as close as possible. We have a variety of speakers representing the police, Ministry of Defence, the Home Office and the community. Today is brought to you by their combined efforts, along with colleagues from Scotland, the Department of Education, DEFRA, Cabinet Office, and of course, this wonderful Gurdwara here in Gravesend, Kent. My thanks to the committee here for allowing us to have and host the event here in this wonderful, beautiful building. I also want to acknowledge the brave soul behind the YouTube link, Bhagat Singh from The Just Grow organisation has worked very hard to ensure today's links all work. And you will see we will have a variety of setups. We will have in-person presentations. We will have live links with individuals who will be doing their presentations, and also a pre-recorded message and input from the Home Office Sikh Association. Each speaker will give snippets of Guru Tegh Bahadur's life. We will learn about him and about those who were close to him. We will also learn how those who followed him were inspired to remain steadfast, loyal, and in Jagdi Kalam. The events of Guruji's life and death had far-reaching repercussions for a nation of people who gripped and thrived on the spirit, justice, compassion, and what we today call human rights. Speaking of revolution, we will be making a very important announcement today about Sikhs working within government and the civil service, and the significance of which will have far-reaching payoffs. The Gyani Sahib Gurdas and some of you who understand Punjabi may have had a snippet of that. And before I hand back to Pat, I just want to thank all the people who have been involved in arranging today's event, and in particular we have a budding young Sergeant, Rav Rai, who has really helped put all the IT systems in place. So if it doesn't go according to plan, Rav, it's down to him, but I'm sure we can put a mind of people that everything will go according to plan, and I hope we will learn about the life of this wonderful soul that graced us with his presence 400 years ago. And the teachings and the messages are as relevant today as they will be tomorrow. Thank you. Why don't you talk also? Why don't you talk?
Thank you, Humphrey, for opening the event for us. So our first speaker that we're bringing to you will be talking about the father of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Her name is Veera Kaur Chaudhary, and she comes to us to do this input from the College of Policing. Veera is a digital producer for the College of Policing. She is a founder and the chair of the college's Sikh network. She is also the youngest and only non-white director of the Warwick Folk Festival. Veera is known for her work around diversity inclusion, speaking regularly at events and coaching young women from diverse backgrounds in breaking through barriers to success. Veera, I would like to invite you please to 15 minutes of the father of the big college. When I was first invited to talk at this event, I was asked to talk on the topic of Mother Hujriji, which I'll do later on today. A couple of weeks after that, we got a message from one of the organisers to say, due to some unforeseen circumstances, a couple of people have had to drop out. And there's a couple of topics that now need picking up. And when I read that message, I don't know what it was, but there was something inside me that just felt like responding to him and saying, if you need somebody to pick something up, I can do an additional topic. So I took out WhatsApp and I messaged Harvey and I said, Harvey, if you don't find somebody, I'll be happy to pick up another topic. I sent the message on my phone, and almost immediately I said to myself, what on earth are you thinking? You haven't even found the first topic yet, and you've signed yourself up for another one. You must be crazy. But I'd already sent the message, got the double tick. It's too late to go back. But then I didn't hear anything else about it, and secretly I was praying to Guruji. Hopefully somebody volunteers, and I don't have to do with the topic. I'm standing here right now, so I think you know where the story's going. Last week, Harvey sent me a message to say, Vera, we still haven't got somebody to talk about Guruji's father. Would you be able to pick that up? And my first feeling was, what have I done? But then really quickly afterwards, I just got this really strong sense that, you know, there's no coincidences in life. This has happened for a reason. And I really felt like this was a blessing from Guru Maharaj, a hukam, also a divine command that this seva, this service has got your name on it. So I quickly said yes. You know, I'll take this as Guruji's hukam and I'll do it. Then I realized that, you know, hold on, this topic is about Guru Tegh Bahadurji's father. And Guru Tegh Bahadurji's father is not just, you know, he's not just anyone. They were Guru Har Gobind Sahib. You know, what can I tell you about such an incredible soul that, you know, possibly you don't already know? They were the sixth Guru of the Sikhs, the first Guru that had to take up arms to protect the innocent, the Guru that established the concept of the saint soldier, minifig, two swords representing temporal and spiritual power, the Guru that constructed the Akal Takat, where worldly decisions are discussed and decided in deliberate eyeshot of our spiritual center, Harmandir Sahib. You know, what more can I tell you? But then I realized that actually I've been asked to speak about Guru Tegh Bahadurji's father. So I started to look for stories about that relationship, the father-son relationship, not about Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, but about Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji as the father of Guru Tegh Bahadurji. And as I was doing my research and as I was reading, I came across two stories that really jumped out at me, and I just felt were really powerful. The first story was when Guru Tegh Bahadurji was only 13 years old. And the name given to them at birth was Tegh, Master of Renunciation, is what it means. So at 13 years old, Tegh finds out that his village is under attack. And very soon there will be a battle that will take place to protect the village. So at 13 years old, and I want you to really think about what you were doing at 13 years old, what was happening in your life, what decisions you were making, what you were thinking about. At 13 years old, the Tegh goes to his father and says, you know, Father, I want to fight in this battle. You've been training me from a child in the art of warfare and swordsmanship and archery. I want to have the opportunity to fight for my people, to protect and to serve my community, my loved ones, my family. Now I want you to put yourself in the position of a parent and a 13-year-old child coming to you and saying, hey, I want to go and fight in a battle. What do you think? And if I put myself in the shoes of a parent and I think my 13-year-old child comes to me and says, hey, I want to go and fight in this battle, what would I say? The reality is I would probably say, hell no, get upstairs and do your homework. What on earth do you think you're talking about? But that's not what happened in this story. In this story, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji accepts the request of his son. He says, okay, come along and fight in this battle. And I think about that and I think, wow, like, how does somebody make that decision? And then I think, well, did Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji make that decision as the worldly father of the Agman? Or did they make that decision as the Guru? The Guru that has divine wisdom, has infinite vision of past, present, and future. A Guru that could see into the future of the Agman and knew what lay ahead for him and what he needed to be prepared for. So for me, I think actually Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji made that decision as a Guru, not as a worldly father. The Agman would go on to fight in that battle. And not only would he survive, but he would come home a hero. And the warriors who he fought alongside were so impressed by him that they blessed him with a new name. Tegh Bahadur, which roughly translates to brave mastery of the sword, an incredible blessing for such a young man. The second story that really stood out for me regarding that was later on in Tegh Bahadurji's life. They were married, a little bit older, and it had come time for Guru Hargobind Sahib to appoint the next guru. Lo and behold, they didn't appoint Tegh Bahadurji, they appointed Guru Har Rai. And after appointing Guru Har Rai to the Guruship, Guru Hargobind Sahib went to his son and said, Tegh Bahadur, I want you to take your wife, and I want you to take your mother, and I want you to go off and live in a remote village called Bagala, and I want you to go there and meditate. And again, I think, oh wow, how do you make that decision? Was that a decision made as a worldly father? Or again, was it a decision made as a guru? Because he was essentially sending off his son off to a remote village, away from everything, away from everyone. And I thought about that. And I realized again, Guru Hargobind Sahib was not making that decision as a father. For me, I think. I believe they were making that decision as a guru. Again, that vision of past, present, and future, knowing what lay ahead for Tegh Bahadur Sahib, knowing the difficult journey and how spiritually prepared he would need to be to make that ultimate sacrifice in the future. So Guru Hargobind Sahib sent off his son to meditate in Bagala, telling him that one day you'll be called upon to serve, but until then, you go. I was thinking about that relationship then, how did Guru Hargobind Sahib think about that, feel about that, having to sacrifice that worldly relationship with his son because of the duties as a guru, and thinking about how Guru Hargobind Sahib didn't just think of his own children, his own family, his own community, but was actually thinking beyond, thinking about the entire humanity and thinking about how best well to serve humanity. While I was thinking about that, a really beautiful shabad came to my mind, a beautiful hymn, which I think really encompasses that whole feeling of that relationship between Guru Hargobind Sahib and their son, Guru Tegh Bahadur. I'm going to share a line from that shabad. Forgive me, I'm not a singer, but I will do my best just to share, offer a line for Guru Maharaj. Ek pita ek sake hum parik, tu mera raha, tu mera raha. Ek pita, ek pita, one heavenly Father. Ek sake hum barik, we are all your children. Tu mera guru hai, you are my guru, you are my guide. Such beautiful, empowering words. It's so lovely that we get to come here today and celebrate such an incredible occasion, 400 years of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib. It's great that we can celebrate. It's great that we can remember. But for me, I think it's really important that not only do we celebrate and remember, but we honor the contribution and the sacrifices made by Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib and by Guru Hargobind Sahib. They sacrificed their worldly relationships, they sacrificed their families and lives for the good of humanity. So I really want to challenge you to honour them every day. Wake up and think about your role in policing or in civil service or in defence, and think about how you can take a leaf out of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji's book, or Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji's book. Don't just think about yourself. Let's not just think about our own families, our own communities, our own countries even. Let's think beyond. Let's wake up every day and ask ourselves, what can we do for humanity? What can we do to honour the great Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji? Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you, Leah, for that absolutely outstanding input and a beautiful recitation of Shabad there, and also for giving us an insight into the relationship with the father and also the actions of the Guru. I'd like to invite next an input from Captain Rajinder Singh Ramthi from the Defence Sikh Network, who will be speaking to us about the life and contribution of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. So over to you, Bahadur, when you're ready, and Rajinder Singh.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Can you hear me? Just comms check quickly. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Thank you for confirming. Awesome. So Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Major Rajinder Singh Ramthi, and I'm chairman of the Defence Sikh Network, which is the official organisation within the Ministry of Defence to support diversity inclusion from a Sikh perspective. So firstly, thank you so much for having us here today, and it's a great opportunity to speak to you all on such an important topic. Just a quick introduction of who the Defence Sikh Network are and what we do. So as I mentioned, we're the organisation that represents Sikhs within the Ministry of Defence, and essentially what we're really about is supporting Sikhs within the Ministry of Defence. So that's the Army, the Navy, the RAF and the Civil Service, and making sure that they are supported within their service, and we're more like a members peer support group. On top of that, we help develop MOD policy to make sure it's inclusive of Sikhs and it supports Sikhs in their faith. And the last bit as well, we help with engagement. So we actually help the MOD to go out into the Sikh community and build bridges and relationships as well. We don't do recruitment. We're not here to recruit anyone, but we're here to just explain about what we do and promote the amazing military history that we have as the Sikh community. And some of the new initiatives we've been doing, you may have seen it. We've started a Kirtan Jatha. It's called the Defence Kirtan Jatha. So Sikhs performing Kirtan in uniform, which has gone down really well. And this isn't a new thing. This is something that actually I felt like we've forgotten as a community. So we're trying to bring these things back. So to get back onto topic and talk to you today about the life and contribution of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. It's such a broad topic, amazing topic. So I'm going to first off by apologizing for any mistakes and asking for forgiveness. I'm still learning myself. So these are just some of my thoughts, some of my, things that I've picked up on researching Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji that I felt that really inspired me. So actually, the first thing to mention about Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji is that he's actually known as Diabaman, and he was born in Amritsar in April 1621. And he was given the name Guru Tegh Bahadur, which means mighty sword. It was given to him by Guru Har Gobind Ji after he showed valor in the battlefield. And this is what really surprised me. Growing up, I saw Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji as a martyr. I saw him standing up for the rights of people, but I never envisioned Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji actually picking up the sword, picking up the Tegh, and actually fighting himself, which really impressed me and really inspired me. So he was actually trained in archery and horsemanship. And he accompanied Guru Hargobind Ji actually when he was only 13 years old in the Battle of Kartarpur, and it was there when he showed his valor, showed his military prowess, and he was given this title of Tegh Bahadur by the Sikhs around him because he showed so much strength really, and this really made me think to say that actually we know that Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj made the Khalsa and gave his son Sipahi, but you can see the seeds and the root of that in Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji and Guru Hargobind Ji. So that was really inspiring, and I thought that was a really important contribution because I feel actually without that we may not have had what given us a cast, right? So that was one of the most inspiring parts that I found actually in Guru Tegh Bahadur, and he fought. Um, many looks, and the topics actually ranged from the nature of God, human attachment, mind, sorrow, dignity, service, death, and deliverance. So again, really broad topic of philosophies, and again, this really I'm going to bring the Sant Sipahi concept back here again, and really just shows that he was a philosopher. He was someone who picked up the sword, he picked up the Tegh, but he also was a philosopher as well. And that is really, again, when we look at contribution, it's a huge contribution that we bow our heads to daily. And finally, just want to mention, of course, the effect that he's had. If we look at, actually, of course, Guru Tegh Bahadur is known as Hindu Chadar, and he gave his life for. This is where I think it's important we raise this point. He gave his life, he sacrificed it for another faith, for another group who were being persecuted, and that's the fight, that's the real struggle about injustice. So of course we all know the story where he was beheaded by Aurangzeb in Chandni Chowk, and there's gurdwaras there now that commemorate that. But the fact that he gave his life for religious freedom, I think that is a huge, powerful message that I believe is still being carried on today. If we looked at the effect, I'm just going to quote someone here. It was Bashora Singh, and he stated that if the martyrdom of Guru Arjan Dev Ji helped bring the Sikh Panth together, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's martyrdom helped to make the protection of human rights central to Sikh identity. I thought it was really powerful because if you actually look at it, if we look at Sikhs today through so many different organizations, we are carrying on that message of protecting human rights, and whether that be through there's lots of ways we can do that, but the fact that that message and that idea is still being carried on today is the most important thing, and we shouldn't forget it. And really, I'd say that is one of the biggest contributions that we can say about Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, that he's given us, he embodied that. He gave us the gold standards of Sikhs should support people who can't support themselves. So that's me in a nutshell. Just like to keep it short and sweet. Again, apologies for any mistakes. And thank you again for being here. It's really great to be on this platform with all the other cross-governmental Sikh groups across the UK government. And hopefully we can do more of these in the future. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you very much, Captain Gordon, for giving us an input on there's a really funny story in my in my family about when my brother was born. I was about 2 years old at that time, and my brother was born. His name's Julian. And my older sister, immediately after my brother was born and my mum came home, she went running to my mum, and she said, "Mum, now that Julian's been born, are we going to throw Vera in the bin?" And like we laugh about it now. It's really funny. My sister was about 5 years old at the time. When I think about it, at 5 years old, she had this idea in her head that because there was now a son in the family, I was no longer needed. As you can see, I wasn't thrown in the bin, but it made me think about where that mentality came from, where she was getting that idea from. And as I grew up as a child, I also became really aware of this strange idea that boys were more superior than girls, and that having a son in the family was just so important, and having daughters was not so important. It wasn't so much my parents, but more wider family, extended family and community, really. Then when I was 9 years old, I remember my mum and dad, they sent me and my siblings to a Gurmat camp, just like a summer camp, 3 days at the local Gurdwara, learning about the Sikh faith and the Sikh history. And I remember a particular session that for me was just incredible. It was a session around prominent Sikh women in Sikh history. And I remember hearing stories about Bibi Nani being the first person to recognise Guru Nanak Dev Ji as the light of the divine. Hearing stories about Mai Bahadur, the incredible warrior princess who led a group of deserters back to the battlefield, and a formidable warrior who ended up as one of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's personal bodyguards. Like, how incredible is that? And Mata Saibur, the mother of the Khalsa. So I remember this session as kind of the first step for me on my journey of understanding gender equality and realising my value and my worth as a woman. So when I got this topic from Harvey of speaking about Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's wife, Mata Gujari, or who we lovingly refer to as Mata Gujari Ji, I was so happy. I was over the moon. I just loved the idea of getting to talk about and sing the praises of Mata Gujari Ji. And what I did, I realised that actually I didn't know as much about Mata Gujari Ji as I would have liked. So I reached out to some friends of mine, some devout practicing Sikhs, and also some historians to ask more about Mata Gujari Ji. And something really incredible happened. Whenever I spoke to somebody and I mentioned that, hey, I'm doing this talk about Mata Gujari Ji, something would happen to these people. I'll try and explain it. It's kind of difficult, though. But there would be this kind of, if it was a video call, there was just this look on their face, and their body language would change, and even on the phone, I could hear their tone of voice would change. It was like they were in complete awe. And that just intrigued me even more. What is it about this woman? What is it that everybody seems, in awe of? And as I did further research and heard more stories, I started to really understand. I shared earlier about Guru Hargobind Sahib sending Guru Tegh Ji off to Ghana. Obviously, they got sent away with Mata Gujari Ji. Now, Mata Gujari Ji was a special soul pretty much from birth. She was born in Bahadur. That in itself is an incredible fact. The first community of the Sikhs founded by Guru Nanak Dev Ji. And from when she was a baby, from when she was very young, the people around her, they got the sense that this was no ordinary child. There was something special about this girl. She had a certain aura about her. She had a certain way about her. She was highly accomplished. She was developed much faster than others her age. So later, when she was married to the son of the Guru, it didn't really come as a surprise to her. But that moment when she got sent away with Tegh Bahadur Sahib, I shared with you what Guruji had said to Tegh Bahadur Sahib, but they also said something to Mata Gujari. They said, no, I want you to go with Tegh Bahadur Sahib, and I want you to live in the garden. But there'll come a day in the history of the world, your husband and your son will be infamous. So she left with Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji that in her mind. My husband and my son will be infamous. How do you deal with that? What do you do with that information? So what she did with that information is she went along with her husband and she served. She looked after the household. She looked after the community in the mother. She looked after the langar. She played her role as part of her hukam, her divine command from her Guru, waiting and waiting and waiting. Now she spent her days serving, while her husband, Tegh Bahadur Sahib, spent his days and nights in meditation. And he wasn't meditating for hours, or days, or weeks, or months. He meditated for years. In fact, he meditated for over 2 decades. What kind of resilience must her mother Gujari had to fulfill her duties while her husband was off for 2 decades meditating? Incredible. Then later, when Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji is appointed as the Guru, as the ninth Guru of the Sikhs, he immediately leaves, going on missions across India to spread the word of Guru Nanak, leaving Mata Gujari Ji again to take care of the household, to manage the home. And later on, when she gets pregnant with Gobind Rai, again, Guruji leaves on his missions, on his work, on his service. Mother Gujari Ji is left alone, gives birth alone. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji comes back and meets Gobind Rai, the future Guru Gobind Singh Ji, just for a few days, and he's off again across India, spreading the word of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Mother Gujari Ji, almost a single mother, taking care of Gobind Rai. Now Gobind Rai is 9 years old. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji is at home with his family. As you'll find out later, circumstances arise that mean Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji has to leave for Delhi. They're not leaving for a mission. They're not leaving for service. They're leaving for a much bigger purpose and meaning. And when they leave home, at that point, they are leaving in the knowledge that they will not be coming back. Their son is 9 years old. They're leaving their wife and their family. And they know they're not coming. Imagine the confidence that they had in Mata Gujari Ji. Imagine the faith and the love and the respect that they had for their wife, knowing that they would be going off to Delhi and not coming back. They were essentially handing her the keys to the house of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. It's because of Mata Gujari Ji that Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji is able to go off and make the ultimate. I start to think to myself, how did she do that? How did she get to that stage where she could think beyond the life of her husband, beyond the life of her child, and in the future her grandchildren? And it goes back to what I talked about earlier. It goes back to the command and that bigger picture, that seva, service to humanity, which was instilled in her from such a young age. When I think about this and I think about Mataji, and I wonder, what did she want for us? Because she made those sacrifices not just for those at the time. She knew that Guru Tegh Bahadur was going on to make the ultimate sacrifice for all of humanity. So what did she want for us? What did she want for me? When I think about that, a shabad comes to mind really strongly. A hymn comes to mind. And again, I apologize for not singing, but I'm going to share a line from that shabad also. Uta mata ki aasis, Uta mata ki aasis, निमक ना बिसरो तुमको हर हर, निमक ना बिसरो तुमको हर हर, सदा बजो जगदीश, सदा बजो जगदीश, उता माता की आशीष, उता माता की आशीष, उता माता की आशीष. Oh child, this is your mother's only hope, only prayer. Nimakana Visaro, Tumako Har Har. May you never forget God, Har Har, not even for a single moment. Sada Bhajo Jagdish. May you adore the divine ruler of the world forever. There is something really special about this shabad, even more special than the words. And I realized it just yesterday. The shabad is composed by Guru Arjan Dev Ji. And Guru Arjan Dev Ji was Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji's father, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji's grandfather. And this might not be historically correct, but it's my kind of romantic story that I tell in my head. That Guru Arjan Dev Ji, when they composed the shabad, they used that vision, the vision of the past, the present, and the future. They could see into the future as what was going to happen. And even more amazingly, this shabad is composed in a rag composition. And it's composed in rag Gujari. Maybe a coincidence. I kind of like to think it's not a coincidence. I just love that romantic nature. So for me, I feel that Dadaji's wish for us that we never forget. So I talked earlier about not just celebrating, not just remembering, but honoring. How can we honor Mataji's sacrifice, Mataji's contribution? And for me, it comes down to what I shared earlier on around gender equality. So I would like to challenge you all to think about how we treat people and to ensure we treat people equally. Baji talked before me about the sacrifice made of the Tegh Bahadur Ji for the Hindus, but actually it wasn't a sacrifice for the Hindus. It was a sacrifice for humanity. That everybody has the choice to live the way they want to live. They made that sacrifice for all of us. So what sacrifice can we make? What can we do? Let's challenge gender inequality. Let's stand up for those without a voice. Let's honor Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib Ji, Mataji Ji. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you, Vera, for another outstanding input. You've demonstrated beautifully the fortitude that Maharaji demonstrated throughout their life, and again, a beautiful recitation. Thank you. I'd like to introduce you to Jas Bartle next from the National Sikh Peace Association, who will be speaking to you about the Sikhs who died in Guruji.
Thank you all for joining us on this platform to be part of the formal celebration of Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur. Today I'm here on behalf of the National Sikh Police Association. I am Detective Sergeant Jas Stevenson, part from West Midlands Police. I will be speaking to you all about 3 Guru Sikh who were also martyred along with Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur in November of 1675. These 3 Guru Sikh were brave, they were honourable, unfathomable, and most importantly, at one with Guruji's bond, something we should all aspire to. You will hear me prefix certain names with the word Pai. This is a term of honour and endearment bestowed upon exceptional Sikh. Before exploring their sacrifice, who were the 3 brave souls? 2 brothers, Pai Madhidas and Pai Sindhudas. They were born to a Brahmin family of the Jibba clan and belonged to the village of Kayara in the Jelly district in Punjab, which comes under the Pakistan side now. Their grandfather, by Ganga, embraced the Sikh faith in the time of the 6th king, Guru Hargobind. He even went into battle against the Mughal forces with Guruji. Their father was Hiraman, a disciple of Shri Guru Hargobind, under whom he had fought in many battles. He survived the Guru, and a little before his death, he had entrusted his 2 sons, Madhidas and Sandhudas, to the care of Shri Guru Hargobind, who had assured the dying man of his full attention and help. Both the lads remained attached to the Guruji's family as Guru. The uncle was Durgama, served Shri Guru Hargobind and Shri Guru Har Krishnji as their household manager. Both brothers assisted him during Shri Guru Tegh Bahadurji's time. By Madhidas, the older brother, and by such Guruji's portfolios for managing finance and running of the household. They also accompanied Guruji on his travels through the year. By Dayaldas' grandfather, by Bahadur, had fought alongside Shri Guru Hargobind and attained martyrdom while fighting against the Mongols. His ancestors belonged to a people named Bulgan. By Dayaldas was 15 when he joined the Guru's institution. On recommendation from Diwan Durgama, Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur made him Minister for Domestic Affairs. In 1665, when Shri Guru Tegh Bahadur went to Assam from Patna, he left him at Patna to look after his family. The birth of Guru Gobind Singh took place under his care and service, and he looked after the prince till he reached Anandapur. All 3 volunteered to accompany Guruji from Anandapur side to Delhi to attend Aurangzeb's court, knowing full well that there was danger ahead as they all set out to confront the emperor of his threat to forcing the Pandits of Kashmir to convert to Islam or be killed. All were arrested under imperial orders and taken in chains to Delhi, so they knew full well what they were to do. So we'll talk now about the sacrifice of Pai Madhidas. So on the 24th of November 1675, a Ghazi was a judge or magistrate on the Sharia court, turned to Madhidas first and asked him to embrace Islam. He refused to do so. He was condemned to an instantaneous death. The executioners were called, and the Guru and all the 3 of his companions were made to sit at a place of the execution. But Madhidas approached the Guru with his palms pressed together as he asked for his blessing, saying that he was happy to be the first to achieve martyrdom. The Guru blessed him, telling him that they must resign themselves cheerfully to the will of the Lord. He praised him for his lifelong single-minded devotion to him and his cause. With tears in his eyes, he bade him farewell, saying his sacrifice would accompany an abiding place in history. Matidas touched the Guru's feet, embraced his friend and brother, and came to his place. Matidas, while standing erect, was tied to two posts. He was asked if he had any parting words, to which Matidas answered, "I request only that my head be turned towards my Guru as I am executed." Two executioners placed a double-handed sword on his head. Matidas serenely uttered Epyonkar and started reciting the Japaji Sai, the great morning prayer of the Sikhs. He was sawn in half from head to loins. It is said that even as the body was being sawn into two, the Japaji continued to reverberate from each part until it was all over. That itself was amazing. And then we go on to the sacrifice by Satidas, his brother. Like his brother Matidas, Satidas refused to abandon his faith and refused to convert to Islam. He was therefore sentenced to death unless he changed his mind to convert to Islam. As a way to provoke the Guru, he was humiliated and tortured in direct sight of the ninth Sikh Guru from about the 18th of November 1675. But the Sikh was not deterred from staying on the path of righteousness and never wavered. Eventually, when the Mongols were unable to sway him by Satidas' resolve, he was wrapped up in cotton wool, set alight, and was roasted alive. This happened on the 24th of November 1675, on the same day as Bhai Satidas was executed. And now I'm going to talk about the sacrifice by Diyal Das Ji. He was the third to attain martyrdom on the 25th of November 1675. The Ghazi's ordered that Bhai Diyal Das Ji be seated in a cauldron of boiling water. On hearing the ruling, Bhai Diyal Das Ji asked leave of the Guru. The Guru said, "Brother, your service has borne fruit due to which your turn has come before mine. Great are you, and blessed is your devotion. What pleasure can be greater for me than to see my lifelong devotees sacrificing their lives for the protection of human rights, even ahead of you? May God bless you with success." Before putting Bhai Diyal Das Ji in the cauldron of boiling water, the Ghazi said, "There is still time. Embrace Islam and save yourself from the pains. Otherwise, you will face greater agony than your companion. You have seen how cruel he was slain." Bhai Diyal Das Ji replied, "You cannot harass my companion. Did you notice how calmly he was meditating on the word of his Guru when he was being sawn? Having made mockery of bodily pains, he has diffused into the Supreme Being. Hurry up and let my soul attain unity with the Lord." On his reply, in the negative, the executioner sat in the cauldron of boiling water. He stayed on sitting in the water with an unwavering mind. His flesh separated from his bones, and his soul merged with the Supreme Being. All three may never have known what their sacrifice would mean to the world and those that follow the faith of Sikhism at that time and for the many years that follow. They were true to their faith and belief. They were unwavered. I want you to think about the sacrifice that they made in just solving the Guru as their leader. I want to thank you. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Jess, for that input, both of the unwavering faith of our Sikhs and also of the painful truths of our history. Thank you. Next, we have a video which is going to be played to you by Mohan Singh from the Home Office Sikh Association based on the legacy of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Over to you.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I thank my honourable guests, respectful Sevadars, and above all, Guru Maharaj, with this opportunity to be part of an enlightening presentation on the 4th centenary of our great Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Firstly, I apologise for not being with you today at the Gurukar in the presence of Guru Maharaj. My name is Sukhveer Singh. I am the co-chair of the Home Office Sikh Association. We are a government support network and established for over 10 years now. We have around 700 members across the Home Office and the wider civil service. Today I will try to touch upon the legacy of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. So we repeat in our daily prayer as prescribed by Guru Gobind Singh Ji. We remember Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. We say, Tegh Bahadur Simriye Karno Nidyave Tai Sab Thai Hoy Sahai. So let us remember Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and the 9 treasures shall enter our homes. And Guru Sahib will help us in all places. So to understand the legacy of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, we must acknowledge the ideals of the Sikh faith are universal to all of the Sikh Gurus, the 10 Sikh Gurus, and those guiding principles shape the ethos of the Sikh religion. The great sacrifice of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji demonstrates a lived experience of the principles of selfless service, freedom, tolerance, respect, equality, bravery, and justice for all. And all in that time, in an era when bigotry was justified by the sword, whether in the name of religion or other ideology. If we look back to Guru Nanak Dev Ji and look at his legacy, he openly criticised and challenged the barbaric actions of the first Mughal emperor Babur, who on his first conquest for India slaughtered the innocent, demolished temples. Even though Guru Nanak Dev Ji was imprisoned by the orders of the emperor, the Guru encouraged dialogue with Babur, and Babur is said to have agreed in principle to rule his kingdom with tolerance and justice. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji says in Gurbani, if a strong power attacks another strong power, no one would grieve, none would complain. But when fierce tigers prey on the helpless cattle, thou herdsman must answer for it. Guru Nanak Dev Ji teaches us the attributes of the Lord in Mool Mantra, known as the root prayer. He declares God is without fear and without hate. Likewise, Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji declares, the truly enlightened ones are those who neither incite fear in others nor fear anyone themselves. So Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was inspired. He was inspired by his grandfather, the 5th Guru, Guru Arjan Dev Ji. He was the first martyr of the Sikhs. Guru Arjan Dev Ji taught the importance to respect all faiths by including both Hindu and Muslim verses in the Sikh scripture Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Furthermore, the Guru's father, the 6th Guru of the Sikhs, Guru Har Gobind Sahib Ji, protected the rights of both Hindus and Muslims. He famously released 52 kings from unlawful imprisonment, and for the Muslims, he constructed a mosque known as Guru Ki Masjid. The Guru thus understood the selfless nature of his duty to protect the oppressed for the greater good of humanity. It has been discussed previously, I'm sure, that hundreds of thousands of Hindus were being forcefully converted to Islam by the orders of the Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. Within his reign, he waged a campaign to create an Islamic state, even though the population was predominantly Hindu. And looking at historical context, it's absolutely challenging to find any such comparable in history where the principal leader of one faith would sacrifice their life for the protection of another religion. And to be clear, the Guru protected the religious rights for the Hindus, but neither did he or his Sikhs prescribe to the Hindu faith, or did he give up his own faith to accept Islam, which was forced upon him. At the time, Guru Gobind Singh Ji was at the tender age of 9, and he was also present when the contingent of 500 Hindu priests from Kashmir came to see Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji at Anandpur Sahib. They were threatened by the Mughal emperor to either accept Islam or accept death. When the priests asked Guruji to advocate, only the most pious of holy men could challenge the Mughal authority. Guru Gobind Singh Ji stepped in and said, "Father Guru, who is more holier than you?" It was at that point that Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji was absolutely clear he would defend the rights of the downtrodden Pandits for the sake of righteousness. He was equally clear his son would be inspired to lead the Sikhs as the 10th Sikh Guru. Guru Gobind Singh Ji acknowledged in his autobiography, to protect their Tilak and Junju, he performed a heroic deed in the age of Kaljug. He gave his head for men of faith without flinching and chose martyrdom in the cause of righteousness. Guru Tegh Bahadur's sacrifice was a catalyst for the young Guru Gobind Rai. It was to cultivate the perfect man, not forgetting the principles laid down by Guru Nanak Dev Ji and echoed by his father Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. He declares, Guru Gobind Singh Ji declares in Akal Ustab, recognize all humankind as one, whether Hindu or Muslim. The same Lord is the creator and nourishes all. Recognize no distinctions between them. The temple and the mosque are the same. So too are the Hindu and the Muslim worship. Men are all one. The martyrdom of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji had inspired an invaluable contribution to Guru Gobind Singh Ji to establish the Khalsa in 1699. The Sikhs were inspired by the example set by the Guru, who went from being their master to becoming a disciple of the Khalsa. The Sikhs became fearless saint soldiers, and when enemy forces conspired to attack Anandpur, the city founded by the 9th Guru, the Sikhs were steadfast to guard the security of the land. Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji has demonstrated to defend one's principles, one must be ready to give up one's life. These are the very same principles of a Khalsa and is the fundamental principle of the Sikh faith. This is the same spirit that inspired the Char Sahibzade, the 4 children of Guru Gobind Singh. The 2 elders fought bravely in battle and were martyred, whilst the 2 younger siblings were subjected to a similar plight to that of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. They were apprehended, tormented and tortured to either renounce their faith or to accept Islam for their freedom. But they were reminded of the sacrifice of their grandfather Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, and they too became martyrs by being bricked up alive at the hands of Mughal fanaticism. After the sacrifice of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji, Sikh history was at that turning point. We cannot to this day count the numerous hundreds of thousands of sacrifices made by Sikhs, they too followed the example set by Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji to serve others before oneself. Within a single generation after Guru Gobind Singh Ji, the saffron Khalsa flag was flying all over Punjab and hoisted at the Red Fort, where the Sikhs defeated the Mughal army and captured the capital Delhi. The legacy of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji can be evidenced by the generations that followed, in particular the Sikh king Maharaja Ranjit Singh, who upheld religious tolerance in his kingdom. He donated gold to the Hindu temples and the mosques. He banned cow slaughter to respect the sentiments of the Hindus and acquired the most ornate copy of the Quran. Within his court, he appointed both Muslims and Hindu officials. Forced conversions were unheard of in his kingdom. This gratifying example of tolerance was one of the reasons why the BBC History magazine recently voted the Maharaja as being one of the greatest leaders of all time. This legacy of respecting others and being selfless is the principle in which Sikhs around the world conduct themselves, especially at the time of crisis or need. Sikhs find a means to gather, be organized, and go out their way to do selfless service for mankind, whether through aid in a war zone or to feed the vulnerable, especially during the pandemic. Sikhs have shown they have a desire to live by the example set by Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. This great sacrifice of Guruji reminds every human being has the right to choose their religion, but it's also sad the world is still struggling to comprehend these values, even after the atrocities such as the persecution of Jews in Nazi Germany or the Sikh genocide in 1984. Today, these principles are adopted and proclaimed by the General Assembly resolution in 1948, Article 18, as a fundamental human right. The Guru was the pioneer and reminds us all everyone has the right to freedom of thought, religion and belief. I thank you all for listening to this attempt to praise the glories of our great Guru, and I apologize for any mistakes. Fulchuk Maaf. I wish everyone from the Home Office Sikh Association congratulations on the 400th birth anniversary of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Thank you. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
And indeed picking up some very key issues there around learning there from our wider Sikh legacy and also the teachings of our and also the teachings that our Gurus had in terms of minds as well. Next, I'd like to invite Harlan Supply back to the stage to make an announcement about the prospect.
Speaker on. Why would we go also? Why would we keep something? We're looking at ourselves. It's great to see that the guys seem eager to get going as well.
We are slightly ahead of ourselves. But, in any case, as I mentioned earlier, there will be an announcement on the making. And it was around how the Sikh Staff Association, Sikh networks, the forums that work within civil service and government are coming together. But before I do, let me tell you about that journey. We as Sikhs often talk of ekta, which is effectively means unity, and of having a sense of direction for our community. I, along with many of you, have observed a steady erosion of this sense of unity. Some would even say there's been a cliff-edge decline in the quality of leadership we've experienced as of late. Others will say something, somewhere, somehow, someone tried to push the community down a road that was paved with hate, uncertainty, darkness, double standards, deceit, untruths, misogyny. These couldn't be further from the values which our other sides stood for. We all know the Sikhs are a resilient and vigilant community. They've seen off many of these foes in all their diaries. As we all know, Guru Sahibs taught us and set many precedents in terms of how to challenge these types of people, however they present themselves, to our community or from within our community. I want to use the occasion of this event, where we mark the life, legacy, and leadership of Guru Tegh Bahadur, to announce on behalf of the National Sikh Association, the Home Office Sikh Association, the Defence Sikh Network, the Crown Prosecution Service Sikh Society, the College of Policing Sikh Network, and on behalf of Sikh colleagues within DEFRA, Department of Education, Ministry of Justice, Cabinet Office, and across the other ministerial offices. A unification and ekta of our collective efforts to bring you a model of working for the benefit of the Sikh community, our members and membership, and to the UK government and the civil service. The model being proposed is called the Octopus model, and that term was coined by a good dear friend of mine, Gurinder Singh, from the Home Office. It hasn't been patented yet. I tried to look up what an octopus model was, there's no such thing in me. But having said that, what that is, it's where long-reaching tentacles feed back to a central hub to share best practice, to highlight and signpost issues. And I've just looked across at Gimby, and I think you want to talk about that, let me go and say it. Okay, let me just, you know what I said, don't script, I never do your own things. But look, like an octopus, the union will be flexible, able to move around and get out of tight spots. And I'll leave it there, and if producing wants to talk more, you're most welcome, okay? Therefore, it is my pleasure and honour that with Guru Sahib's blessings, the CGSF, a cross-government Sikh forum, we will look to a formal get-together and having discussed matters with Cabinet Office, and when the environment allows, to provide more details. But for the meantime, we will be working collaboratively as we have been doing. In any case, for now, the CGSF will work together without fear or favour, so our voice is not only heard, but understood and then championed impartially and strategically as one unified voice. So what kind of issues are we talking about? I'll cite a few examples. The first one is a Kisan issue. It affects, in some shape or form, all Sikhs and Bengalis, some more than others. Within policing, the National Sikh Police Association made representations to every chief constable in the country. Their response was an immediate reach out. That only happened due to the platform we have through the association. I'm aware that HOSA and Home Office Sikh Association and the Defence Sikh Network did something similar within their genres of business. I'm sure, just as the Kisan issue affected members of the above, it will also affect my brothers and sisters working on the Home Office, Cabinet Office, those working in schools and hospitals, and in local government. We have seen the problems temporary doctors and nurses faced, and the need for better PPE to help their duties. Again, a platform directed to government will help alleviate many of the hardships which were experienced. There are legislative matters, legal matters, which have been raised by the National Sikh Police Association together with the Home Office Sikh Association. And it's encouraging to see government looking into our concerns, and we await a response to our submissions. On that point, I would like to take a moment to thank the senior officials at the Tegh and the wider civil service for their prompt actions and speedy communications to us. Now, before I go on to the thanks of people involved here, there are certain chief constables within the UK who's mentioned here. The first one is Sir David Thompson, Chief Constable of West Midlands Police. He has been a large supporter of the NSPA UK. Gabe Forsyth, Carl Folks have recently reached out to us, and we are appreciative and grateful for their support. The Chief Constables and other Chief Constables across the UK who are talking to us, we are very grateful, and we hope we can continue our dialogue on the various issues that we are discussing at the moment. I want to thank Virinder Singh from the Home Office for his guidance and support, Captain Daljinder Singh from the Defence Sikh Network, Harpreet Singh, Sukhbir Singh from the Home Office Sikh Association, Jason Gaboose and Laura Shaw from the Cabinet Office for helping us in the background. And I know a lot of colleagues that work in the Cabinet Office, the civil service, tend to be in the background, but we want to acknowledge them publicly for the support they're giving us. And I think the start of the could be like all from Constable. You know, she's literally, reached deep down into ourselves and, give it a little flick and welcome somewhat. And the decided on the ground is very appreciated and very beautiful. And we have these people here today, but in the background, we have Raj Singh from the Scottish Sikh Network, Sydney Berkeley from the Department of Education, Kavinder from the Board of Risk Management, Dr. Jason Burkle from DEFRA, and Virinder Lindabal from the Crown Prosecution Service Sikh Network. And as you can imagine, the list goes on and on and on. And I hope that gives you a flavour of the network and the links which have been created through the cross-border Sikh forum. With their collective mindset, with the support of the community and the community organisations, and with the blessings of Guru Maharaj, I hope that this group will be able to steer the Sikh community towards a brighter, safer future, a clear direction, and I hope some considerable stability of our community. Thank you. Why would you have answer? Why would you for it? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Habib, for making that announcement for us. I'd like to invite to the stage now Rajit Singh to give us a 10-minute input about the Sikh Assembly.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. As the UK emerges from under the shadow of the COVID pandemic, we join Sikhs all over the world in global celebrations and Sikh events this month with the establishment of the Khalsa by Guru Gobind Singh Saki. And today we're celebrating the birth of 400 years ago of the ninth Guru, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib. He was the Guru of the Sikhs from 1665 until his martyrdom in 1675. It gives me great pleasure to acknowledge and appreciate being joined here by so many esteemed professional institutions. Sikh Assembly is already working closely with established NGOs such as Sikh Relief, British Sikh Report, and the National Sikh Police Association, amongst others. It's also very encouraging to see key representation sharing a unity of message and purpose. Sikh Assembly has been persevering diligently during the lockdown period of the global pandemic. And with Guru's goodbye, we were given the opportunity to positively engage and successfully contribute to the effective accommodation of Guru Ki Kalanga and keeping services to be recognised as worship in the context of Sikh faith. We look forward to continue working with our colleagues and the Sikh community to ensure concerns, opportunities, and community interests remain represented efficiently and effectively wherever necessary. Our community building initiatives, such as the Sikh Women in Britain event held earlier this year, allowed us to highlight the contributions made to British society by formidable Sikh women, like our very own chair, Bambi Maru, Managing Director at JP Morgan Chase, Jason Kaur Narwal, a barrister serving as the Chief Crown Prosecutor for CPS, Fab Dalibal, Head of the Leadership Academy at Essex and Kent Police, and Mandeep Kaur, the Chaplain for the British Armed Forces, to name a few. The recent disability conference, which we held, was hosted by the Sikh Assembly Ambassador Shani Kaur of the Asian Disability Network, and this allowed us to bring together organisations and individuals for whom Sikh representation and interest is of immediate necessity. It's really inspiring to see Sikh members of the armed forces, the police, PCS, and Home Office represented here today, showing how Sikhs are represented in British society at all levels and responsible in part for the safety, security and defence of Britain. However, the feelings remain among the Sikh community that we are underrepresented and remain anonymous in terms of data and visual statistics of the society. This fear of isolation and invisibility as a community has been heightened by the Sikh experience of the census over a number of decades. However, we firmly believe positive engagement is creating positive change, and between us all gathered here today, we've created an ongoing dialogue with the ONS and the Race Disparity Unit to create the change required in areas as diverse as healthcare, education, and even hate crime. Whilst looking for more recognition and better representation, it's pertinent to remember our long-standing contribution to the world. It's not limited to respect for law and order, hard work, education, and business entrepreneurship, but also for loyalty, bravery, and steadfast opposition to tyranny and injustice. It's a tradition that is a deep foundation built on ideals of peace, respect, and equality. These characteristics, which run true in the blood of all Sikhs, are found in the actions and deeds of the Gurus themselves. Today we're celebrating the life of Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib. It's truly an epic story of bravery, devotion, selflessness, and meditation, leading ultimately to the sacrifice of his own life for the freedom of others to practice a religion that he didn't follow himself. It remains an unparalleled act of selflessness and defiance in the history of the world. The Sikh Gurus have repeatedly shown us the true path through practical action. Guru Tegh Bahadur was often depicted in saintly meditative poses, but he was also fearless and skilled warrior. His childhood name, Gyalman, which is Master of Unattachment, was changed to Tegh Bahadur, which literally translates to Mighty of the Sword, by his father Guru Hargobind Sahib, after showing extraordinary valor in the battle of Kartarpur against the Mughals. Known for his deep spiritual temperament and a learned poet and scholar, 115 hymns are attributed to Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib and Sri Guru Granth Sahib. These shabads cover a variety of themes such as the nature of God, human attachments, body, mind, sorrow, dignity, service, death, and deliverance. The writings of Guru Tegh Bahadur are deep and evocative. He's probably best known for his 57 sloks or couplets that are found towards the end of the Guru Granth Sahib. The sloks are often written in a bairag style, which can be related to devotional poetry or an expression of melancholy and hope. They're full of wisdom about life and death. Guru Tegh Bahadur wrote these sloks in the brutal confinement of a Mughal prison while awaiting execution. It's a theme he follows in other shabads too. For example, in Surah Al-Quran, Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib describes an ideal human being, unattached to short-lived worldly influences. The shabad, which you may be familiar with, starting Jorna Dukhman Dukhman. That person who in the midst of pain doesn't feel pain, who is not swayed by pleasure, affection or fear, and who looks upon gold and dust as the same, who is not swayed by either slander or praise, nor affected by greed, who remains unaffected by joy, honor and dishonor, who renounces all hope and desires, and remains above worldly hopes, who is not touched by lust or anger. Within that heart God dwells. The one blessed by Guru's grace understands this way. Says Nanak, that special one soul merges with the Lord of the universe like water with water. Guru Tegh Bahadur Sahib's travelled extensively to different parts of the country, including Dhaka and Assam, to visit Sikh communities started by Guru Nanak, the first Guru of Sikhs. He spread the Sikh message further, as well as starting community water wells and langars, which you know to the free kitchen. Guru Tegh Bahadur also founded the city of Anandpur Sahib in the foothills of the Himalayas, which was later to become the birthplace of the Khalsa. The Sikh movement was rapidly moving in Punjab, and the Guru was seen as defined by openly encouraging Sikhs to be fearless in their pursuit of a just society. He who holds none in fear, nor is afraid of anyone, is acknowledged as a man of true wisdom. Guru Tegh Bahadur had become a socio-political challenge to the Mughal ruler Aurangzeb, who politicized his religion and wanted to convert everyone to his interpretation of Islam. In May 1675, the Tegh Bahadur was approached by Hindu pundits seeking the Guru's help against the increasing oppression and forced conversions of Hindus in the by the Mughal rulers of India. The Tegh Bahadur Sahib told the delegation to inform Aurangzeb that if he could convert Guru Sahib, they would follow suit. The Guru went to Agra to challenge Aurangzeb, where he was imprisoned before being taken to Delhi. There he was asked to perform miracles to prove his connection with God. The Guru questioned the very idea, stating that occult powers were not a proof of one's divinity. After his refusal to perform miracles, it was again demanded of him to convert to Islam or be executed. After several attempts to affect the Guru Sahib's divinity and failing, including the barbarous torture of 3 of his Sikhs who had been incarcerated with him, they were tortured in front of him for refusing to convert to Islam. Bhai Matidas Ji was sawn to pieces, Bhai Satidas was burned alive, and Bhai Dyaldas was boiled alive. The Guru was unwavering and continued to refuse to convert to Islam. Finally, he was publicly beheaded on 24th November 1675 at Amritsar Kingdom. Guru Tegh Bahadur Singh Ji is remembered for upholding the inalienable human right for religious freedom. In giving his life to protect a religion that was not his own, he is fondly remembered by Sikhs as Sist Ki Jadoo, or the protector of humanity. But a more modern title would be literally Defender of Faiths. Guru Tegh Bahadur's son, Guru Gobind Singh, in his composition Bajit describes how the Guru had resisted persecution and protected the right to practice their faith unmolested. Guru Tegh Bahadur became the protector of the sacred thread of the film. He gave the highest sacrifice so that we may remember him for heaven. He gave his head as an offering without the slightest hesitation. He gave his life for freedom of religion. He gave his head but not his faith. Falsehood and fakery were condemned. True devotees have always rejected deceitfulness and falsehood. A Sikh, by definition, respects all other world religions. The Guru Granth Sahib Ji states, one who recognizes that all spiritual paths lead to the one shall be emancipated. Sikhs are dedicated to the principle of persons created equal, with no regard to their race, gender, religion, or creed. This is practiced every day in Sikh guruduwaras by their commitment to welcoming and serving individuals from all religions, culture, and ethnic background. The daily Sikh prayer concludes a call for Tere Bane Sabab Tapala, for the good of all mankind, in accordance with the divine law. Once again, we'd like to share best wishes on the celebration of the Tegh Bahadur Ji's birth with the sun.
And thank you to Bahadur Singh for giving us that overview of the current activities which are taking place in a unified manner to make that positive difference for Sikhs, and for also picking up on the Guru's life and Sikh principles. So thank you for that. Hon sadi kirtani jatha saudhan badra mein kari
जो नर दुख में दुख नहीं माने, दुख में दुख नहीं माने, जो नर दुख में दुख नहीं माने, दुख में दुख नहीं माने, जो नर दुख नहीं माने, दुख नहीं माने, सुख स्नेह Tegh Bahadur Simri, Tegh Bahadur Simri, Tegh Bahadur Simri, Tegh Bahadur Simri. Karnaam Diyal Karnaam Diyal Sab bhai hoye sahaye, Sab bhai hoye sahaye, Tegh Bahadur Simriya, Tegh Bahadur Simriya. Karnaam Diyal Sab bhai hoye sahaye, Tegh Bahadur Simriya, Tegh Bahadur Simriya. Karnaam Diyal Sab bhai hoye sahaye, Tegh Bahadur Simriya, Tegh Bahadur Simriya.
ਪਵਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਾਣੀ ਪਿਤਾ ਮਾਤਾ ਧਰਮ ਮਾਤਾ ਤਿਸਰਾ ਗੁਰਦਾਈ ਨਾਇਆ ਕਿਵੈ ਸਗਲ ਜਗਤ ਚੰਗਿਆਈਆਂ ਉਪਰਿਆ
संगत भरा नानक ते मुखे जने कीर्ति शुक्रिया कीर्ति शुक्रिया। वाह
We'd like to move now on to the closing by Gurinder Singh, who's going to be talking to us now about the CGS and again, software.
Thanks, Alsan. Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you for everybody. It's been an event today, very informative. Past, present, and future printed forward. Going forward, one of the key things, as Harvey's already said, is around working together as one, having one voice. and the cross-government Sikh Forum is one of the fraternal ways as like-minded Sikhs within the civil service and government across the state and its agencies have firmly believed that it's the way forward to have this robust, objective, fair, consistent voice to impact policies, legislation, HR for our civil servants across its agencies and government and departments for Sikhs. But also, one thing is a must is that we do represent everybody in the civil service and all faiths, non-faiths. And that's one of the key messages here in this event we've had is around, regardless of faith and non-faith, it's the humans first, the humanity aspect of it. All of us abide by the civil service values of integrity as one of the key ones and fair and objective. But at the same time, we have our own values and beliefs. And one of the key parts of government is bringing oneself to work and being identified as a Sikh. And those in government who are not from our background are aware. And that's one of the key aspects of the like-minded Sikh Forum we have firmly early on already formed, working together. This is just one example of why we are to see this consistency forum and with like minds apart. One of the key things of that Octopus model, as Harvey's already expanded on, is to have that consistent voice and touch every part of the government across wider aspects of the government departments. And where best practice is, we are sharing that between us and are able to replicate that rather than duplicate. This has enabled us to be stronger, more form, more credibility at senior level and getting the support of Cabinet Office number 10 and vice versa. This is going to be an ongoing and I personally feel it's going to be very impactful. It's never been done in the civil service before, having a cross forum of such an innovative way of having this in an Octopus model. So all eyes are on the civil service, especially this forum, and we've already started successfully and able to build on this in a very firm and robust manner. There's not much else I can say because I think Harvey took most of the input. There is lots of input, food for thought, as I said, and the service we do here and feels that we are steadily moving in the right direction, as Harvey has said, because of past events, especially in this COVID environment, which there's a lot of uncertainty, a lot of family and friends and loved ones who have passed before their time because of this. And this is where we also can be impactful. That's what I really wanted to say. Before we close the event, there are some few words from the Prime Minister, which will come further due, but otherwise, Vai Chikasa, Vai Chikasa.
Okay, Bahadur, if you could play that video already, please.
सब किछ जीवत को विवाह को इस बासुर दिखियन को तावत के बिदरों को गाए मन मेरो बस नाए मन मेरो बस नाए माए वेद पुराण सिमरत के मत सुन निमक नाही ये बसावे परतान पार दारा स्यो रचियो गिरता जन्म सिरावे मन मेरो बस नाए मन मेरो बस नाए माए
I want to wish everyone in Britain's brilliant speaking community a very happy last year you missed out on a fantastic cycling.
कुछ ज्ञाना कट ही पीतर पस्त नरंजन ताको
Thank you very much for that input, and very thankful to the Prime Minister as well. So in closing, and to sum up, everybody knows that events like this are not put together very easily, and there's not a lot of work that goes into them. This has been a truly outstanding event when celebrating the 400 years of our Guru. I would like to thank everybody involved in arranging this event. Thank you to Rav and to Bugget as well, for taking care of the IT. Thank you to Sunny for the social media. Thank you to Nav and Suk for the local support here, and obviously to the exec as well. We'd also like to thank our partners who've been involved in putting this event together. Thank you to the Gurdwara, Sade Jatheda Palwar, Thank you most of all to our speakers as well. And of course, the event would be nothing without our attendees. So thank you to all of you who have attended. Also, we would like to thank the National Sikh Police Association, all of the chiefs and forces for their Vaisakhi and good messages. On this note, Sade Sara Ho, Fada Bod Bod, on Sade Granthi Mala Singh Ji Adas Karke for this month.
अर्जन हर गोविंद नाम सुनो श्री हरिराय श्री हरिकृष्ण की हरिय सिद्धि सब दुख जाए तेग बहादुर सिमरे अपना विहार थाए सब हमारी को सहाय दसवां पातशाह श्री गुरु गोविंद सिंह साहिब जी सब हमारी को सहाय दसवां पातशाह की जो श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब के पाठ दीदार जाते अंतर खालसा सारे बोलदी वाहिगुरु पंजाब दे आलम सौ साहिब जाते 40 मुक्तियां 25 जपियां तपियां जिन्हां नाम जपिया वंड छकिया देख चलाई तेगवादी देख अनर कीता तिन्हां दे आलम सत्यानंद दी कमाई जाते अंतर बोलदी वाहिगुरु जिन्हां सिंहां सिंघणियां ने धर्म के सिद्धते बंद बंद कटवाए खोपरियां भाइयां चरखड़ियां ते चढ़ हारे नाल चलाए गए गुरुद्वारे सेवा दी कुर्बानी कीतियां धर्म नहीं हारिया सिखे सिद्ध केशां स्वासां संग निभाया तिन्हां समूह शहीदां दी कमाई दा अंतर बलदी वाहिगुरु पंजा तां सरबत गुरुद्वारां दा अंतर बलदी वाहिगुरु प्रथम सर्वत खालसादी की अरदास है जी सर्वत खालसादी को वाहिगुरु 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 चित्ते आवे का सबका सर्व सुख होवे जहां मेरा खालसादी सारे तहम खुद से आए देख देख फतेह कर की है अंत की जी श्री साहिब के सहाय खालसादी के बोलबाने बोलदी वाहिगुरु सिखानो सिखीदान केशदान रहतदान विवेकदान विसाहदान भरोसादान धर्म सिद्धान नामदान श्री अमृत सदी के इच्छा चौकियां ठंडे होंगे जो नवकल धर्म का जयकार बोलदी वाहिगुरु सिखना मन नीमा मत उची ਮਤ ਦਾ ਰਾਖਾ ਆਪ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ। ਇਹ ਅਕਾਲ ਪੁਰਖ ਆਪਣੇ ਪੰਥ ਦੇ ਸਦਾ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਜੀਓ ਸ਼ਿਨਨਕਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਅਤੇ ਉਹ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਥਾਮਾਂ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਪੰਥ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਛੋੜਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਖੁੱਲੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਦਿਦਾਰ ਤੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਸੰਭਾਲ ਦਾ ਧੰਨ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ। ਇਹ ਨਿਮਾਣੇ ਦੇ ਮਾਣ ਦੇ ਤਾਣੇ ਦੇ ਤਾਰ ਨਿਯੁਕਤੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਧੰਨ 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 ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਹਜ਼ੂਰ ਅੰਦਰ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਹੈ। ਸਭ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਰ ਦੇ ਸਮੂਹ ਸੇਵਕ ਪ੍ਰੇਮੀ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਸੇਵਾਦਾਰ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਕਿ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਿੱਖ ਪੁਲਿਸ ਐਸੋਸੀਏਸ਼ਨ ਯੂਕੇ Home Officer Sikh Association, Defense Sikh Network, College of Policing Sikh Network, ਅਤੇ Cross Government Sikh Forum ਦੀ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਦੀ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਨ ਧੰਨ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਆਪ ਦੇ 400 ਸਾਲਾ ਅਵਤਾਰ ਦੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਨੂੰ ਮੁਕਤਿਆਂ ਸਮੂਹ ਸੇਵਕਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਗ੍ਰੇਸ ਦੇ ਪਹੁੰਚਦਿਆਂ ਹੋਇਆਂ ਆਪ ਦਰਬਾਰ ਦੀ ਹਾਜ਼ਰੀ ਭਗਤ ਸੋਭੇ ਸਮਾਨ ਹੋਦੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਹਜ਼ੂਰ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਜੀਵਨ ਦੀ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕੀਤੀ ਗਈ। ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਹੋਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀਓ ਆਪ ਥੋੜੇ ਕੇ ਸਿਰ ਤੱਕ ਸਮੂਹ ਸੰਗਤ ਸੇਵਾਦਾਰ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਦਰਦੀ ਨਿਭਾਈ ਵੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਦਰੋਂ ਕਰੋ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਸਦਕ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਨਾਮ ਦਾਨ ਬਖਸ਼ਣਾ ਸਿਰ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਹੱਥ ਰੱਖਣਾ ਸ਼ੁਭ ਭਾਵਨਾਵਾਂ ਪੂਰਨ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਗੁਰੂ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਸਹਾਰਾ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਚੱਲਣ ਦੇ ਫਲ ਉਤਮ ਸਾਥ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੇ ਸਭ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਖ ਸ਼ਾਂਤੀ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੀ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਧਰਮ ਅਤੇ ਸੱਚ ਦੇ ਮਾਰਗ ਤੇ ਤਿੰਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੀ ਬਰਕਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਦਾਤਾ ਜੀਓ ਦਾਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਰਕਤ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਸਦਾ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨੀ। ਦਰਦੀ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਅਸੇ ਸੇਵਾਦਾਰ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋਇਆਂ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੀ ਦਾਤ ਦੇ ਭਰੋਸਾ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਬਖਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਸਭ ਸੇਵਾਦਾਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਫਿਰ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਆਪ ਹੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਲਿਖੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਲਾਉਣਾ ਜੀ ਕਾਨੂੰਨ ਦੇ ਰਾਹੀਂ ਇਸ ਦੀਵਾਨ ਦੀ ਸਮਾਪਤੀ ਦੀ ਆਗਿਆ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ। ਸੀ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਮੇਰ ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਤੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਤੇ ਆਵੇ ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ ਤੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਦੁਹਰਾਇਆ ਮੈਂ ਪਤੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਕੀ ਚਲਾਏ ਹੁਕਮ ਸੋ ਸਿੱਖਣ ਕੋ ਹੁਕਮ ਹੈ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਾਨਿਓ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਜੀ ਮਾਨਿਓ ਗੁਰਾ ਹੀ ਦੇ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਕੋ ਮਿਲ ਪਹੁੰਚਾ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਰਾਜ ਕਰੇਗਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਕੀ ਰਹਿਣਾ और भी समनगी पठान शरण और भी समनगी पठान शरण जो बोले सो निहाल सत्य श्री वाहिगुरू।
अव्यागन भरे एक गुण नाही अमृत निशान निकट काहि माया परम कै फूलै उदारा मोती नाहि एक उत्तम पंथ सुनियो गुर संगत तह मिलत जम त्रास मिटाई एक अरदास पाठ की रत की गुरु रामदास राखो सरनाई सतनाम श्री वाहिगुरु साहिब जी बैराड़ी महला पंजवा चौथा हर जन राम नाम गुण गावे जे कोई निंद करे हर जन की अपना गुण ना गवावे हर जन राम नाम गुण गावे जे कोई निंद करे हर जन की अपना गुण ना गवावे रहाओ जो किछ करे सो आपे स्वामी हर आपे कार कमावे हर आपे ही मत देवे स्वामी हर आपे बोल बुलावे हर आपे पंच तत्व विस्तारा विच धातु पंच आप पावे जन नानक सतगुर मिले आपे हर आपे झगर चुकावे हर आपे पंच तत्व विस्तारा विच धातु पंच आप पावे जन नानक सतगुर मिले आपे हर आपे झगर चुकावे वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह।
नमस्कार गुरु सत्संगी वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह। सतगुरु का शुक्र है आप जी ने श्री गुरु नानक देव गुरुद्वारा में धन श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहिब महाराज की हजूरी में पहुंच के धन का साहिब श्री गुरु तेग बहादुर साहब महाराज जी की 400 साल अवतार पर बनाया गया सतगुरु की महिमा गायन करते हैं तो और वाले वास्ते आशीर्वाद लेने की सारी आपने सेवा करनी है। आप सारी सेवादारों का गुरुद्वारा प्रबंधक कमेटी वालों बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सब मुझे नारंगी थोड़ी इस कितने दिन बरकत पावे को साथ में श्री गुरु तेग बहादुर साहब महाराज ने आपने दिल के जंजू राखा अवतार का किलो बड़ो कुलुम साका उदय पैदा कारण उदय से बांध को सुन अपने सिखानो सच अपने हक तंदे पात्र अपने आप को खो के गुरबानी दिल वास्ते तो दे देता है सुमार मालकरी आपने स्किल के अंदर जो कि हक सच अति अपने कीर्त ਨੂੰ ਨਿਭਾਉਂਦੇ ਰਹੇ आप एक सेवादार हो मनुष्यता की सेवा कर रहे हो। बहुत खुशी हुई कि इस दरबार के अंदर एक जिम्मेवार ने जिन्होंने मन के अंदर गुरु की प्रेम भी है सत भी है हक के खातर अपने आप को खो के इस वास्ते अपने आप की सेवा जिम्मेदारी निभाऊंगा मालिक ने एक तजर्बा भी कोशिश की है और वक्त होवे एक भी अरदास की सारा बेनती जे समा होवे थोड़े को क्योंकि लंगर का समा है लंगर भी तैयार ने सो आपने लंगर सके जाना दी वही अपना दिखावा दी फिर आप दरबार वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू
मन मेरो बस नाए मन मेरो बस नाए भाई जब ही शरण साध की आयो दुर्मत सगल विनाशी तब नानक के त्यो चिंता मन काटी जम की भासी मन मेरो बस नाहे मन मेरो बस नाहे निस्बासुर दिख अखियन को तावत